In today's Leeds news, Harrison back to Everton, Leeds move for OHare, Leeds target is leaving, ticket details and Tanaka agent change with Leeds interest. Morning folks, Jay here on Thursday morning, the 20th of June at The View with your Leeds United news. Hope you're having a good week so far. There's little threads of information floating around. There's expected to be more information coming out on the Mark Roca situation, Diego Llorente situation and confirmation on the Jack Harrison situation in the coming days. But for right now, I will bring you up to date on the latest on what is going on in terms of the incoming rumours and outgoings from Leeds United. And we'll start off today with the Jack Harrison situation. Leeds United winger is close to confirming a second successive loan move to Merseyside with Everton for next season. News is expected around the deal to be completed any minute now, or labelled imminently, which could mean minutes, hours or a couple of days, with Fabrizio Romano being the latest to tweet about Everton signing a player from Aston Villa, and also noting that Harrison announcement will be next. Jack Harrison scored 3 goals for Everton last season and was the subject of some criticism from fans towards the back end of this season. Harrison was in and out of the team but did get back into the starting 11 by the end of this season. Harrison, his representatives, Leeds and Everton representatives are all said to have held talks earlier last week, according to The Athletic, and they have now said to have come to an agreement. Everton are believed to be covering 100% of Jack Harrison's salary into next season, which frees up a huge amount of funds for Leeds from a PSR perspective and could allow Leeds to make some moves themselves in the loan market or the free market. Harrison still has an active loan clause in his contract, which has allowed for this move to happen. And there isn't any indication of a loan fee being included this time. It's believed that there is no loan fee on this one. However, the wages being off the books is believed to go a long way to ease any potential PSR issues that Leeds may have. According to TBR Football, they claim that Everton will have a purchase option in this deal at the end of the season, which they didn't have according to this report from Everton last season. It will also be kicked down the road till the end of the season due to the fact that Everton is still going through a protracted takeover situation and have been for several months now. So the funds won't be there for a permanent signing right now, but they might be towards the back end of the season. The option of a permanent sale will be included. Jack Harrison will still have 3 years left on his contract when he comes back to Leeds at the end of the season, or if Everton decide to make that move permanent towards the back end of the season. So Leeds shouldn't lose any market value on a player who will be playing in the Premier Division and won't have any of his salary on the books. There's no loss of revenue in terms of sales. Harrison's well past that initial contract, so getting the money off the books in terms of his wages is a big step for Leeds. So positive move in that regard. Moving on to potential incoming, and Leeds have been linked several times over the last couple of weeks with a move for Coventry City attacker Callum OHare, and according to close friend Alan Hutton, Leeds are in the prime position to sign the Coventry attacker once his contract expires on the 30th of this month. Hutton played with OHare at Aston Villa and is said to be in regular contact with the player. Speaking on the possibility of the player joining Leeds, the former Aston Villa fullback had the following to say: "He fits the bill that Leeds like. He's an exciting player, especially if they're going to lose someone like Somerville and Rutter, who could possibly be leaving this summer as well. They're going to need to bring somebody in to replace these guys. I know Callum OHare very well. I've played alongside him when I was at Villa. Technically gifted, he's got an eye for a pass and he can score goals, and he's still at a good age and he's got experience at this level. I think that it is something that Leeds are definitely looking at, and he will suit them very well." It should also be pointed out that in that he mentions Jorginho Rutter leaving, there are no rumours or stories or links to Jorginho Rutter moving away from Leeds this season. And from a PSR perspective, it would be crazy to see that happen. Leeds would make a huge loss on Rutter if they were to sell him this season, having spent 35 million on him or 18 months ago. So yeah, it'd been an interesting one. So possibility, it might be a slight insight into what's going on. They are in contact with each other, O'Hare and Hutton. Maybe there was a conversation had, maybe there wasn't. We'll have to wait and find out, but it's an interesting take on it. He is a player that would fit Leeds bill. He did have a cruciate ligament issue last season, but still played 35 games last season for Coventry. So even with a couple of injuries there, 35 games, plenty of goals and assists as well, will be a player that Leeds would definitely need to bring in if players move on, and a free transfer as well. So not a bad move, if nothing else for depth as well, because Leeds need more options at number 10, so we'll have to look at that. Moving on to a potential target that Leeds have, who has now been confirmed to be leaving his club. A few weeks ago we learned that Leeds were being linked with former Celtic winger Callum Dembele. Now, according to French club Brest, they have confirmed the player will leave the club this summer, and that information has come directly from the club's chairman. Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby, Everton and West Ham are all rumoured to be interested in the winger, which is a wide spectrum of clubs from the Premier League to just promoted into the Championship, like clubs like Derby. Dembele scored 9 goals and had 14 assists on loan last season at Blackpool and did make a mark in that division, and is tipped to make a move potentially into the Championship. He was an exciting player. He first came to prominence when clips of him as a 13-year-old emerged on social media. He was linked to being the next Messi at the time due to his slight stature and close ball control. He made his professional debut for Celtic at 16 years of age and had a good spell under Brendan Rodgers initially. Ange Postecoglou didn't rate the player as highly and he moved away from the club, but he is expected to make a permanent move away from Brest this summer. So Leeds still been linked with him, but there seems to be a lot more concrete information around the possibility of Derby moving for the player instead. Would probably fit that bill a bit better, unless Daniel Farkas sees the player as someone that he can mould into a team that he likes. But with Crescencio Somerville likely to go, rumours around Willie Gnonto moving on as well. Leeds will need more depth in the wide areas. Whether Dembele is a player that Daniel Farkas likes remains to be seen, but if you can get a manager who can rekindle and bottle what the player had at a younger age, it would be very exciting sign to have. He is an exciting player when he gets on the ball, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Moving on to some ticket details around Leeds United's pre-season campaign, and we're into that time of the year where we can start to get a little bit excited about what's to come around Leeds United. Tickets for Leeds' first pre-season game away to Harrogate Town will go on sale on Monday morning. LeedsUnited.com released the schedule for the upcoming friendly. Phase 1 of sales will go on sale Monday the 24th of June at 1pm to last season's 24-25 season ticket holders. And Phase 2 will go on sale Tuesday the 25th of June, and that will be to My Leeds members who can pick up tickets there. Go over to LeedsUnited.com if you want to check out information around those tickets and get yourself sorted out for that. And then moving into the extended rumour mill territory, I suppose, for this one. And this one's back talking about the AO Tanaka situation. Players been linked repeatedly with Leeds. Last season, Leeds did put an offer of £3.2 million in for the Dusseldorf Japanese midfielder Tanaka, and it was subsequently rejected by Dusseldorf. Leeds then decided to look at other targets and moved on and ultimately brought in Glenn Kamara instead. Last month, with Dusseldorf not being promoted to the Bundesliga, it was claimed by Bild that Dusseldorf would have to sell Tanaka and would accept a fee of £3 million for the player, less than what Leeds offered last season. The latest on the situation coming out of Germany shows that there is interest from Leeds, according to a couple of publications, and according to Rheinische Post, they say that Tanaka has changed his agent with the links of Leeds re-emerging. He has moved from the CAA base agency across to the Sport 360 agency, who represent people like Tony Cruz and Julian Nagelsmann as well. Tanaka himself is believed to be desperate to move away from Dusseldorf this summer, and Dusseldorf are in a position where they will need to sell the player, having again not been promoted to the Bundesliga. Leeds are not the only interested party in the player. Everton are said to be interested, but Leeds could steal a march on them if they are interested, due to Everton not having financial funds right now while their takeover is still going on. So Leeds could get in with an offer, get the player and be done, but all of that is likely to happen after the June 30th date passes for PSR, or until the Euros finish. The Euros are delaying any kind of moves for any players really at the moment. If you look at, a lot of the agents will be at the games, a lot of managers and scouts will also be at the Euros as well, so there won't be a huge amount happening until the Euros finishes properly. Free agents, players floating around locally, or where there's been contact made beforehand, may allow clubs to get some deals done earlier than that. But outside of Southampton signing a 36-year-old Adam Lallana, there's not a huge amount happening elsewhere. Jack Harrison going back to Everton on loan. He's a player that's not at the Euros. He's around England. It's an easy one to get done as well, and very little money involved in that one. From Tanaka's perspective, he would add a huge amount of attacking qualities to Leeds. Good passer to the ball, Very diverse player, can score goals, does score goals from midfielder, and is talked about in Germany and in Japan as a leader in the squad. So another good, strong voice in the dressing room, assuming he speaks English, of course. But his actions alone would definitely help with that. So an exciting player if Leeds could bring him in. They were linked last season, which shows that Daniel Farke was interested in the player. If they could get him for less, Leeds still don't have a box-to-box central midfielder, so any kind of a player coming in there would add more depth in that area. The centre-half situation around Joe Rodon's not still clear, although very likely that he might go to the Premier League, which means Leeds may be in a situation where Ethan Ampadu plays centre-back again next season, which means a midfielder would be needed. There's a lot more talks what's needed there. Leeds need more options in midfield. Gruev and Kamara are very similar. Archie Gray is still learning his trade in there. They could probably do with somebody who's a more established player. Brendan Aronson coming back would go into the attacking three as opposed to the central midfield options, although he did play there for Union Berlin last season. So we'll have to wait and see. A lot to still happen. We'll talk more about that over the rest of the week as it comes. We'll have the podcast recorded probably tonight for tomorrow evening as usual. You can check that out. It'll also be available on Spotify as well, and we're looking at adding a couple of more additional podcast streams as well, which will go out exclusively on the likes of Spotify. So if you're not following the channel on Spotify, there's not a lot there at the moment, but there will be over the coming week, so you can check that out when you want to. That's going to be it for me today, folks. Massive thank you as always for supporting the channel. It's always appreciated. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the football tonight, and I will see you tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. See you then. Bye.